Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 4 Reddit stories for you. Reddit stories that made me question everything. Story 1. My girlfriend lost her job and now expects me to fund her skincare addiction. So my girlfriend just demanded I pay for her $100 skincare routine after losing her job, and I'm starting to think I'm dating a completely different person than I thought. Let me break this down for you. I've been with Mia for just over 2 years now, and we're both in our early 20s. We've always been pretty fair about splitting expenses, which I thought was working great for us. But about a year ago, she got really into this whole skincare thing. And when I say really into it, I mean she was dropping serious cash on high-end serums, fancy treatments, monthly subscription boxes, the works. Now look, she was working full-time and could afford it, so I didn't really question it. It was her money, her face, her choice, right? Occasionally I'd chip in for her birthday or if she wanted something specific, but it was always understood that this was her hobby. Fast forward to last month, and she lost her job. The company had layoffs, nothing she could control, and I felt terrible for her. I've been covering rent, groceries, utilities, basically all our shared expenses while she looks for work. I figured that was the right thing to do as her boyfriend. But here's where it gets weird. She's still buying all these expensive skincare products like nothing changed. I'm talking $60 serums, $40 moisturizers, subscription boxes that cost more than our grocery budget. When I finally brought it up, suggesting maybe she could cut back on the skincare spending while she's job hunting, you would have thought I asked her to set herself on fire. She went completely off on me, saying skincare isn't just vanity, it's self-care and mental health. She claimed that asking her to give up her routine during an already stressful time was basically emotional abuse. Then came the kicker. She told me that as her partner, I should want to support her in every way possible, including financially supporting her skincare needs. She said if I really cared about her well-being, I'd understand how important this routine is to her confidence and mental state. I tried explaining that I'm already stretched thin covering all our actual necessities, and maybe we could find some budget-friendly alternatives until she finds work. But she shot that down immediately, saying cheap products would ruin her skin and undo months of progress. The conversation ended with her crying and saying I don't understand how hard this is for her, and that expecting her to compromise her self-care routine shows I don't really love her. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I'm being unreasonable. Part of me thinks I should just figure out how to make it work because she's going through a tough time. But another part of me is frustrated that she won't make any sacrifices while I'm sacrificing everything to keep us afloat. Her friends are telling her she deserves a partner who supports her completely, and my friends are saying she's taking advantage of me. I honestly don't know what to think anymore. Is wanting your unemployed partner to cut back on luxury expenses really that unreasonable? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. I found out my partner called me pathetic through an accidental but dial. So I accidentally discovered what my partner really thinks of me through the most mortifying but dial ever, and now I don't know if I can look at him the same way again. Picture this, I'm a new mom with a 5-week-old baby, and this morning started like any other chaotic day. I was rushing to work, we were on the phone talking, and we both realized I'd accidentally left our infant's car seat in my car. Now I was already 15 minutes away from our house, and if I'd turned around, I would have been late for work. He said he wanted it to take our kids to his friend's house, but it wasn't absolutely necessary. He seemed totally fine about it on the phone, didn't seem mad at all, just said no worries, we'll figure it out. So we hung up and I continued driving to work. A few minutes later, he called me back. I picked up the phone and said hello, but he didn't respond. I could hear him talking, but not to me. That's when I realized he'd but dialed me and had no idea I was listening. What I heard next absolutely crushed me. He was talking to someone, probably his friend, and he said, "She's so pathetic, she can't even remember to take the car seat out." I swear, ever since the baby, she's just been completely useless. I don't know how she functions at work when she can't even handle basic stuff at home. Then he laughed and continued, I mean, I love her, but sometimes I wonder what the hell I'm doing with someone who's such a mess. I sat there in my car, listening to the man I love completely tear me apart to someone else, and I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. Here I am, 5 weeks postpartum, doing 80 to 90% of the childcare because he owns his business and couldn't take more than a few days off. I'm also dealing with his 3 stepkids who are on summer break, working from home, and trying to keep everything together. And this is what he really thinks of me. I hung up the phone and just sat there crying in the parking lot at work. When he called me later, acting all normal and loving like nothing happened, I couldn't even speak to him properly. I felt like such an idiot for believing he was understanding and supportive when really he thinks I'm pathetic and useless behind my back. The worst part is, I keep second-guessing myself now. Maybe I have been a mess lately. Maybe I am dropping the ball on things. Being a new mom is overwhelming, and I definitely don't feel like myself. But hearing someone who's supposed to love and support you call you pathetic to their friends, that hits different. I haven't told him I heard what he said yet because I honestly don't even know how to bring it up. Do I confront him about it? Do I pretend it never happened? Can I even trust anything he says to my face anymore, knowing this is what he says when I'm not around? Am I overreacting to something he said in a moment of frustration? Story 3. My brother steals my food, so I called him a big-backed loser. So I finally snapped and called my 21-year-old brother a big-backed loser, and honestly, I'm not even sorry about it. Let me paint you a picture of what I've been dealing with for years. My older brother has basically made my life miserable when it comes to one thing, food. Ever since we were little kids, this guy would take the majority of whatever food was set aside for both of us and would literally steal food right off my own plate if he wasn't satisfied with what he had. And I'm talking about consistently, every single meal, for years. As we got older and my appetite calmed down from being a teenager, he somehow got worse. I don't eat as much at dinner when my mom or I cook, so I started putting aside food for my lunches to take to work the next day. Makes sense, right? Well, apparently not to my brother, because he would eat my lunch prep too. I'd wake up in the morning, go to grab my lunch that I specifically saved, and it would be gone. This dude would eat his entire dinner portion, then eat whatever I didn't finish, then eat the lunch I saved for the next day. I tried talking to him about it nicely multiple times, explaining that I needed that food for work and asking if he could please just leave my portions alone. His response was always the same dismissive attitude, like I was being dramatic or unreasonable. Sometimes he'd say he didn't realize it was mine, even though I'd literally tell him, "This is my lunch for tomorrow." Other times he'd say he was still hungry and there wasn't anything else to eat, which was ridiculous because we always had other food in the house. The final straw came last week. I had made myself a really nice dinner after a long day at work, something I was actually excited to eat. I plated my food and went to grab a drink from the kitchen. I was gone for maybe 2 minutes, and when I came back, this man was literally eating off my plate. Not just picking at it, but actively eating my dinner while his own untouched plate sat right next to mine. I completely lost it. I told him he was a big-backed loser who needed to learn some self-control and respect for other people's food. I said it was embarrassing that a grown man couldn't manage his own portions without stealing from his little sister, and that maybe if he actually paid attention to what he was eating instead of mindlessly consuming everything in sight, he wouldn't need to take other people's food. He got all offended and said I was being mean and body-shaming him. My mom heard the commotion and came in, and now she's saying I went too far with the name-calling and should apologize. She agrees that his food behavior is problematic, but thinks I was too harsh in how I addressed it. But here's the thing, I've been polite about this for literal years, and nothing changed. I've asked nicely, I've explained why it bothers me, I've tried setting boundaries, and he just ignores all of it. At what point do you get to stop being nice to someone who consistently disrespects you? Was calling him a big-backed loser mean? Yeah, probably. But I'm honestly tired of being expected to be the bigger person when someone repeatedly crosses boundaries I've clearly communicated. Sometimes people need to hear hard truths about their behavior, especially when they refuse to listen to polite requests. Am I really the bad guy here for finally standing up for myself? Story 4. I told my neighbor everyone hates her construction from hell. So I finally told my neighbor that everyone in the neighborhood absolutely hates her because of her never-ending construction nightmare, and now I'm wondering if I went too far. But let me tell you what we've been dealing with, and you can judge for yourself. This woman moved into her house just over a year ago, and for 7 months out of that year, she has had basically non-stop construction and work being done. I have absolutely no idea what they could possibly be doing that takes 7 months of constant work, but it's been relentless. We're talking Monday through Saturday, starting at 8 in the morning, sometimes even earlier. And it's not just the construction noise itself that's driving everyone insane, though that's bad enough. The workers are incredibly loud and inconsiderate. They're constantly yelling to each other, singing at the top of their lungs, and playing music so loud you can hear it from blocks away. Multiple neighbors have politely asked them to keep it down, especially when people are working from home or have young kids trying to nap. Their response? They literally just ignore you or give you attitude about it. I work from home, and I cannot concentrate on anything because of this chaos. I've had to reschedule important video calls because you literally cannot hear over the noise. My elderly neighbor next door has health issues and needs her rest, but she can't even take a peaceful nap in her own home anymore. Another neighbor has a newborn baby, and the noise constantly wakes the baby up during crucial nap times. We've all tried being understanding because everyone deserves to improve their home, but this has gone way beyond reasonable. 7 months of this is absolutely insane, and there's still no end in sight. Last week, I finally reached my breaking point. I was trying to work on a really important project with a tight deadline, and the noise was so loud I couldn't even think straight. I marched over there and found my neighbor outside supervising the work. I told her that I needed to be honest with her about something. I said that everyone in the neighborhood is absolutely fed up with the constant construction noise and that people are starting to really resent her because of how inconsiderate this whole situation has become. I explained that 7 months of non-stop noise is excessive and that the workers' attitude when asked to be quieter is making everything worse. I told her that what started as normal home improvement tolerance has turned into genuine anger throughout the neighborhood because it feels like there's no respect for anyone else's quality of life. She completely flipped out on me, saying I had no right to speak for the entire neighborhood and that she's allowed to do whatever work she wants on her own property. She said if we don't like it, we can move, and that she doesn't care what any of us think because she's not doing anything illegal. Then she accused me of being jealous that she can afford to improve her home and that we're all just bitter people who want to bring her down. The conversation ended with her screaming at me to get off her property and mind my own business. Now some people are saying I should have just continued to suffer in silence and that confronting her directly was too aggressive. But others are thanking me for finally saying what everyone was thinking. Was I wrong to tell her how the neighborhood really feels about this situation? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.